Hello everyone, this is Mary. I'm here to tell you some important topics related to Bandura's language development theory. We have so less time, that means minimum 10 days for our exam. So let's try to cover the important points related to this theory in English medium. Bandura's language development theory is also known as learning by imitation theory or modeling theory or learning by observation theory or Bandura's social learning theory. All the theories are related to Bandura. The different types of names of Bandura's language development theory are learning by imitation theory, modeling theory, Bandura's social learning theory or learning by observation theory. So Bandura advocated for the social learning theory in language acquisition. In the social learning theory, Bandura, as cited by MacLeod 2011, states that in social learning theory, behavior is learned from the environment through modeling, observation, and vicarious learning. That means how the children are learning from the environment is through modeling, through observation, and through vicarious learning. Vicarious learning is nothing but learning by seeing. That means by seeing, by observing, and by modeling. So the children will be able to learn. Bandura focuses on social cognitive principles of learning, which also apply to the learning of language. So those are helpful in learning of languages. So children pay attention to some of the people they come into contact with and imitate their behavior through observation. So when children is observing some people, so they try to imitate, fine, they try to imitate the words, their actions. That means children, just by observing the person, they imitate them through word, that may be through words or that may be through actions. In observation, language is acquired through the influence of others who are models. That means by the other persons, that means by observing someone, these children are getting influenced. That means they are acquiring the language through observing. See, nowadays we see that if some hero is making some hairstyle, so their fans are also making the same hairstyle. That means uh, influencing influence, we can see the influence of that hero hairstyle in their fans. Okay, according to Bandura 1977, people can learn new information and behaviors by watching other people. That means according to Bandura in 1977, he told that people can learn, the children, that means babies can learn new information and behaviors, new information and behavior. That means new information and new behavior by just watching other people. That means just by, if the baby is observing others, they can easily learn new information and behavior also just by observing. When children learn, they are concerned with behavior and its consequences. So when the child is learning, that will be depending on their behavior as well as its consequences. So Bandura notes that apart from observation, language can be acquired vicarious learning. So what is vicarious learning? Nothing but learning by seeing. That means not only by observing, but just by seeing also language can be acquired. Vicarious learning involves rewards and punishments. That means just by seeing, the learning may the learning involves rewards and punishments. That means they may be rewarded or they may get punishments. It also involves learning of behavior in the case as it relates to acquire language. So the behavior of learning is also related to acquiring the knowledge of child, according to Bandura. Scoutris et al. 2003 observed that vicarious learning is learning derived from watching someone being reinforced for good behavior. That means just by observing only, the learning is derived from someone and who gives response for a good behavior. It is therefore a function of observing, retaining and replicating the behavior of others, observing and taking and then giving response to the behavior of others. So the role of teacher in language development and acquisition is to reward and motivate children to attempt what they observe. That means the teacher in the class should be able, that means he should be he or she, the teacher should try to reward and motivate the children to attempt what they are observing. That means the teacher should be uh, able to easily communicate with the students and try to explain the children words in their own view. The teacher should therefore be a good model so as for children to learn language skills from the teacher. That means the teacher should be first a good model for students to learn some language skills and those within the school environment. That means the teacher should encourage the students, teacher should encourage the children to learn new things by seeing, observing, and then by giving response. So the children observe and listen to others speak and acquire language skills. That means the children observe, they listen to others speak. That means whatever the other person is speaking, so the children will observe them, they will listen to them, and they'll get knowledge related to what the person is speaking, what the person is telling to them. So the children will observe everything and they acquire language skills. So within the context of Bandura's approach, the teacher has to provide the right models for the children to imitate. Right model is nothing but the children should be try to imitate in a good manner. That means in a good behavior. The teacher can be the model. As such, a teacher has to ensure that he or she uses language appropriately. So the teacher should be very free to the children so that they can express their views and ideas. And while the role of the imitation and reinforcement cannot be ignored in language acquisition, it has to be noted that there are basic rules that have to be set and followed in teaching and learning of a language within the school environment. That means when the children are imitating or when the children are responding to something, the teacher should be very attentive. That means the teacher should listen each and everything. That means what the child is imitating and what the child is giving response according through the language acquisition. So the teacher should mainly focus on what the child is trying to tell, and this helps in the school environment so that the child can easily acquire knowledge just by seeing, observing, and giving response to the teacher in a school. Hope you understood the concept related to Bandura's language development theory. If any doubts, you can ask me.